Marshmallow Fanboy back with another review, this time of a partially assembled Zabu and Ka-Zar with that last piece I need. This review is a little bit different because mostly I open all of the figures on camera, but for this wave I only opened Wolfsbane. For the others, there was a sale on GameStop for buy one get one 40% off. So I got the rest of the figures in the wave minus Cable. I got him from Amazon separately, and they didn't ship it. It's been in limbo forever. I got it at the 25, and maybe I got it when, by accident, and maybe they're going to cancel it eventually. Who knows? But on eBay, I managed to get just the Build-A-Figure part for Zabu. So I was able to put his back leg on. So that only leaves Ka-Zar. Now, the rest of the figures I sort of offloaded on eBay. That one and the... Not Wolfsbane. Wolfsbane I needed for my New Mutants collection. But the Red Widow or Red Guardian? Red Widow and Icarus I got rid of. And Marvel's Cable I probably will also when I get my hands on that. I never got the Iron Man one. It didn't have a Build-A-Figure piece. I did want a Ka-Zar and a Zabu. Ka-Zar and Zabu were offered at 1 year at San Diego Comic-Con. They were a pair and they were Marvel Legends figures. So I don't know how similar these are to those. I looked at pictures. They seem pretty similar, but I don't know for sure. But who doesn't want a Ka-Zar and a Zabu in their collection? And maybe eventually they'll come up with Shauna She-Devil figure, maybe some other. I got Sauron, so I've got a few Savage Land figures, and that'd be cool to kind of put that together. But until then, is Ka-Zar and Zabu. It's extremely cool that Zabu has a Build-A-Figure in this wave. It's very cool that they're putting out Ka-Zar in that wave, because sometimes the Build-A-Figure doesn't match anything in the wave. Sometimes you're going, why? Why is this a Fantastic Four villain and he's in with a bunch of X-Men? Why? So I'm glad that it connected to something, but it could have used at least Shauna, maybe some other Savage Land base. As I say that, the only three that I can think of are Ka-Zar, Shauna, and Zabu. But with that in mind, let's take a closer look. I think I've already spun the box, so you've seen it. The artwork, the quick explanation of who Ka-Zar is, which is very cool. And the artwork on the other side, yeah, just a really nice figure. He's got the bow staff, he's got the knife. He doesn't really use anything else. He's got 4 extra hands. He's got 2 wide grips. I'm not sure what the wide grips are for. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be grabbing onto. I wonder if he doesn't ride Zabu. He's not Battle Cat. I don't know. A part of the thing that made me excited was He-Man and Battle Cat, Ka-Zar and Zabu, and I thought, holy crap, that's a very cool pair. I would love to see Ka-Zar and Zabu together with maybe He-Man and Battle Cat. That'd be a cool combo. But that's neither here nor there. So Ka-Zar looks great in the package. Zabu looks great, almost assembled. So why don't we break this open and assemble Zabu and take a closer look at Ka-Zar. Now that we have Ka-Zar out of the package and we've attached Zabu's leg, let's look at both of them more carefully. First, let's go over Ka-Zar's hands. He has 2 of these sort of claw hands. I sort of mistook them for like grabby hands, where I thought, what is he supposed to be holding in this? But that looks like more of attack, like a bear, like he's using his fingernails for attack. Like he's, and because he's, climbing trees and doing all that stuff, his hands are probably really strong. So that's probably a good weapon. He has 2 trigger fingers for no good reason. That's, it's just, he doesn't use guns or anything. So they got to redesign a hand at Marvel Legends team. Got to design a hand that just holds like a staff. I thought that was a bow staff, but on top, and when I pull him forward, you can see there's a spear on top. The spear was pointed at the bottom of the package, so I didn't readily see it. He also has 2 fists for punching. And the other fist is on him, so he can punch his own fist. This is Ka-Zar as I envision him. He's always in that brown one piece. He's always got the fuzzy brown boots, the long blonde hair. The spear is sometimes there, sometimes, most of the time, it's been a knife. The knife is in his back. The spear is really long. The spear is taller than he is. I think even when he's fully standing straight up, am I right? He might be as tall as the spear, but the spear is... No, because in the package, the spear disappeared below him. I don't know. Let me look. See, the spear clocks in at 7 inches. That is taller than Ka-Zar. Ka-Zar might be 6 inches. Or he might be a little bit more, but he's definitely not 7. He has a little sheath for the knife here in the back, so that he doesn't have to carry it all the time, but he also has a great place to put it when you're posing him out. And look at him, he holds that knife like it's a gun. Bang, bang, bleed, bleed, stab, stab. There's a little bit of a wash in the hair, where you can see there's some darker strands, and at the edges it's a little bit darker too. That's really nicely done. It helps to bring out the details. In the loincloth, it's just a solid brown, and then there's sort of a lighter beige on top with sort of stitching in it. There could have been a wash to bring that out a little bit more. The belt is cool because the stitching is that brown, but the leather of it is a kind of a lighter brown, so it gives it a little bit of a difference. It's got that leather strap there for the knife. And then, of course, on the boots is the same. The boots look like there's a darker brown on the sort of the fuzzy part, and then sort of a lighter brown on the boots. But they could have done with a wash too. For how little paint was used on Ka-Zar, and I don't know that for sure, because maybe the skin tone is a paint, and that's a lot of paint, maybe. I'm not sure. And it does look like there was at least a little bit of there's a lot of muscle different. I'm getting shadows. That's not a wash. That's shadows on the muscle definition. While I'm not a giant Ka-Zar and Zabu fan, I am excited when they pop up. When there's a visit to the Savage Land, I know they're coming. I know they're in the mix somewhere. And the importance of this figure to me was that first Marvel fanfare story arc with the X-Men and Ka-Zar and Zabu, and gosh, I think that's how that went. But he's been in a lot of stories since then. Marvel team-ups with Spider-Man, and just lots of stuff where I've encountered him over the years. But to have a figure of him is very cool, and to have a figure of Zabu, very cool also. So let's go over the articulation. The head goes down all the way. It's not just that he has a ball joint at the top. He has one at the base of his neck also, I think. Yes, he does. He cannot get his head up very far with his hair sort of blocking that. He has butterfly joints, so I'm sure that they go back a little further than this, but that is one hell of a wingspan. Really good flexibility. Bicep swivel. Double elbows. He has a cut right here between the elbow and the wrist. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't rotate or anything, but this might have been sort of somewhere where they put like a gauntlet on another figure or something like that. It might have been a painted in gauntlet or something, but I don't know what that line is for. Wrist swivel. Wrist hinge. Ab crunch. And waist twists. Standard ball jointed legs. Thigh swivel. Double knees. Boot swivel. Ankle hinge. And ankle rocker. And that is Ka-Zar, who I put the weapons for hands on. So now he can scratch you. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. For Zabu, as usual, it took 6 Marvel Legends figures to build Zabu. It took everybody on the right of Iron Man, or the left if this is appearing in a sort of a mirror image. I don't think it is. It's to the right of Iron Man. He's that first figure with no number, so he didn't have a Build-A-Figure piece. But all these other guys, including the extremely popular Cable is really popular. I don't know if it's right now or always, because it seems like, no, I guess Cable has always been difficult to wrangle up. But the rest of them were not. So sorry, the rest of you characters. Zabu was extremely easy to put together. And of course, just like any other Build-A-Figure, if you have trouble, some hot water goes a long way to getting things in. I didn't have to use anything with Zabu. Zabu comes with nothing. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, he has a wash in certain places on the fur, which brings out some details and some gradation, but it's probably not enough washes in places. Just sort of a little bit on the haunches and a little bit on the arms, and underneath there's a lighter coat for the chest and the neck, which is nice, but not as much variety. But in the comics he was straight orange and didn't have a whole lot going on. And of course he's got the great facial features here, and his jaw opens up wide, articulates. His head articulates back and forth and also goes left and right really well. But also he has a neck that also aids him in doing that, in sort of turning his whole head, or kind of looking more one direction or the other. This neck piece helps a lot. It adds a lot of character to Zabu. His arms are kind of standard. It's ball jointed on the front legs and the rear legs. He has elbow swivels on here, so he can get a lot out of that. He's got a hinge at the paws, and he can swivel the paws also to add to that articulation, add to that posability. For the rear legs, of course, just the same. He's got the ball jointed legs. The legs don't move out too far. On the top, they move out quite a bit. He can get into some pretty low, angry stances if you want him to. And the back legs do help that out. Those back legs stretch out enough to get him into a low posture. But of course, he's got the joints here, and of course they swivel right at the joint also. He's got the hinge and the paws. I don't know if these paws rotate. Let me see. No, these paws, the back paws don't rotate. You got a rocker. The front ones they turn, so you don't. The front ones turn absolutely like this, so you don't necessarily need the rocker. But on these back ones, oh, they turn all the way around. Okay, so you don't need the rocker. Okay, they have the whole. They have a hinge and a swivel, so you're good there. Lots of articulation. He has a mid, or maybe just a mid torso rocker that goes all the way around like this, so you can get him into poses. He can be leaping at somebody, or he could just be in a low pose, paws spread wide. He can also be mid strike. You want him to pose with the paw out. There's just a lot of stuff that you can do with Zabu because he's really, really well articulated, as a Marvel Legends character should be. But he's just super well thought out, and for the amount of engineering and everything they did, and I don't know if this Zabu is the same Zabu that came out for the Comic-Con 2-pack of Ka-Zar and Zabu, or they went back to basics and they did some retooling. But I would say that if we had to buy, I don't know who that first guy is, the next Iron Man, I don't remember, and Wolfsbane and Ka-Zar, and I'm going to say Red Widow again, maybe Icarus and Cable. If we had to buy those to make Zabu, it was worth it. Mostly because I resold the figures I didn't want on eBay. I think Ka-Zar, Zabu, and Wolfsbane were the only ones I was keeping, and I haven't gotten Cable yet. And my feeling is that Amazon will eventually cancel that order anyway. So no harm done. I've completed Zabu. I've got Ka-Zar, and I've got Wolfsbane, and I'm real happy with the way that this turned out. I'm really happy with the Build-A-Figure. I wanted the Build-A-Figure, but I didn't want any of those figures. And I ended up getting a great deal on GameStop, and so I picked up the whole thing. And, well, except for Cable and Wolfsbane. But the rest of them I picked up. It was nice. So, if you can get your hands on him, Zabu and by himself is $130 on eBay, which is ridiculous because $130 is how much the whole wave would cost. You know, or $20 less than the whole wave would cost, which is just ridiculous. So people are spending that money just to get Zabu, and I get the love. Zabu is awesome, but oh my god, I'm glad Lockjaw is coming sometime by the end of the year or maybe next year, because if Lockjaw was a Build-A-Figure, he'd be ridiculous, and I'd have to buy a wave, and now I just have to wait, you know, and try to figure out how low I can afford to let it go before I jump on it, before it gets sold out. That's kind of a neat game I play. It's kind of a financial roulette. So, until next time, enjoy your toys.